Hi, I'm Mike. This is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, where our mission is to help you get the most bang for your buck when it comes to outdoors equipment. And today, we're going to show you how I made this hammock underquilt out of a Harbor Freight wool blanket. Stick around. Maybe we'll learn something together.
Come on. What you want? Come on. What you want?
Okay everybody, in order to make this project, you're going to need, obviously, your Harbor Freight 80/20 wool blanket, some shock cord, which I got this off of Amazon, came from Paracord Planet, and some cord locks, which, again, I got from Amazon, came from Paracord Planet, and of course, a powered thread injector, aka sewing machine, which this is an old one I've had for years. Got it at a thrift store for like 15 bucks, I think. You're going to want to determine which is the long end, which is the short end of this, long side and short side of this blanket. Once you determine which is the long side and which is the short side of the blanket, you're going to want to fold it in half long ways, and then pick a spot maybe about, that far up, halfway or so up the blanket. You're going to trim this bottom corner off a bit. That is going to help get the underquilt more snug up against the hammock, so you're going to have less chance for air to come up through. So let's go ahead and cut those corners off of both sides, or both ends. Now that we have the corners trimmed off on our ends, we're going to want to find the center of, not the edge that we have folded down the middle. We're going to want to find the center of the edges that are going to be free. This is going to be the top portion, the mouth, so to speak, of our underquilt. What we want to do there, which basically you just orient it right and then fold your blanket in half and you'll find that center point. What we're going to want to do there is put U-shaped notch in this, so that when we fold this over, we'll have a spot where our cord comes through and we'll be able to pull it up or adjust it so that we can make the fit for our under blanket a lot better. So let's go ahead and snip this notch out. Now, we're going to want to take our sewing machine and sew along these edges with a zigzag stitch so that we can bind it and keep it all from fraying. Let's go ahead and do that. Now what we're going to have to do is fold this fabric over at the V spots. No, actually, no, we don't want to do that there. What we want to do, not at the V. Now what we want to do is on our ends, the part that we didn't trim off, the part that was left over after we trimmed off, we want to fold it over once and sew a couple straight line stitches down there, because we're forming a channel for our shock cord to go through. Actually, first we want to snip this corner on a 45 degree. And then zip through there with some zigzag stitch. We want to do all 4 of the corners like that. Cut it at 45 degrees and then zigzag stitch right across it. Now, we want to fold these ends, what would have been the short ends, over one time and sew it down using a straight stitch so that we can form the channel for our shock cord. Make sure you reverse back and forth several times to lock this stitch in. There's what we end up with on that end, so do that all the way around. All right, now that we have that done, it's time to fold this in half and sew up where I cut the corners off. Make sure that when you do this, when you fold it, make sure when you fold it that these channels you sewed in are facing outward. That way they'll be facing in when they'll be facing in when we're done. And make sure you don't sew all the way up to them, because, well, you know, we want our shock cord to be able to go through it. You know, make sure you leave these ends open. Trim out the excess and do a zigzag stitch right where you just were, just over the edge of it, kind of like an overlock if you had a serger, to bind that in. Make sure you get it right along the edge. As you can see, it's securely bound that edge. That's what we want. Now do that on the other side. Now our sewing's done. Let's go ahead and turn this inside out. I'm sorry, right side out. Let's turn this right side out and see what we have. Now, we're gonna want to run that shock cord through these channels. Let's go ahead and do that. Now that we have all the sewing done and all the cords ran through, let's go find a couple convenient trees and set this up. let's first get the top ones adjusted where they want to go. As you can see, I've never actually done this before. I'm just kind of trying to figure it out as I go. And that is going to look about right. So I'm going to make me a knot. Alright, when you want to set it up, first thing you have to do is figure out where you want the sag at. And that looks like it might be about right. Take your hammock, put it inside your underquilt. Then take your top ones that control the amount of this and kind of snug it up and tie it off. Figure out, how much you want to leave, and then tie it off and clip it to your one of your carabiners here. So, let's see how this works. See if I can manage to get myself in this. Hopefully without tearing everything down. The reason you use shock cords is because it has some give to it. So, we'll see how much. Roll back in your hammock per usual. And I can tell you right now, this is going to keep you pretty friggin' warm. You wouldn't think it, but you can even do a diagonal lay with this. And normally in a hammock, your backside and back and shoulders and whatnot will get cold if you don't have some sort of insulation. Man, this is working great. I can feel it's really, really warm on my back and shoulders. Just give me another blanket or two as a top quilt, and holy cow, I think I'd be pretty comfortable down to a really low temperature. So, I'm Mike. This is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews. If you like what you saw, please like, share, subscribe. Consider becoming a patron on my Patreon account and helping the channel out so I can keep bringing you nice videos like this. Thanks. Come on back. Maybe we'll learn something together.
What you want?